My name is Daphna Michaelson Jenet, and I am the state representative for Colorado House District 30. I was just elected in this past November 2016 election, and I'm here to share with you my story on why I ran for office. And it's a little bit of a long story, but I'm going to tighten it up for you. It started when I was 14 years old, and I started having this uncomfortable realization that the adults around me would often complain about the problems that were going on in our community or in our neighborhood. And Saturday and Sunday were prime days for talking about how things could be better in our communities. And then Monday morning rolled around and everybody went back to work. As a 14-year-old, I got really frustrated because I heard my parents and the community members with these great ideas on how they would solve problems in our city and in our community and on our streets and our neighborhoods. And then I didn't see any action. So I made a solemn commitment to myself at 14 years old that I would never complain about a problem unless I was willing to work on the solution. Now, when you're 14 years old, that's a pretty easy commitment or promise to make to yourself, as what are the problems that you're facing, primarily in your friendship circle, or maybe bigger problems at home where there was not enough food sometimes. So I got a job and I found a social circle that worked for me. And as I got older and the problems started to escalate and I went to college, I made a commitment to myself to serve the nonprofit community in my career. And my career was great. I was serving community. I felt fulfilled in knowing that the things that I would want to complain about in community, I either worked directly for or I volunteered in my board service in the community to solve problems that were facing my community. But as my career grew and expanded and my responsibility, specifically in the city and county of Denver, expanded, I started to see more of the challenges that were facing our community that I wanted to be directly involved in solving. I still believed that that could be done primarily through board service, and that was my choice to do it through board service. But ultimately I hit this point where I'm dating this guy and he asks me what I would do if I won the lottery. And I blurted out that I would travel to all 50 states and meet with every governor to ask them what they were doing to engage their citizens in solving community problems, which was such not a normal answer to the what would you do if you win the lottery game. Ultimately, the short end of the story is we didn't win the lottery, but I quit my job anyway, and I traveled to all 50 states, and I interviewed 500 people from age 14 to 94, a wide range of religions and races and socioeconomic backgrounds, from homeless to multi-billionaire and everywhere in between. And I saw that they answered the question, I have a problem, and you might have that problem too, and I'm going to stand up and solve it for both of us. They didn't wait to be asked. They didn't ask for permission. They just got up there and they served their community in that way. I wrote a book about it. It's called It Takes a Little Crazy to Make a Difference, which won the 2015 International Book Award for Social Change. I was fulfilled. I really felt that through sharing these stories, I was expanding upon how people could solve problems in their communities, and therefore I was fulfilling my own promise to myself to never complain about a problem unless I was willing to be able to work on the solution by giving people access to solving those own problems for themselves. And then my board service hit a wall. My own son was struggling in life. And as I was volunteering in our juvenile correctional facilities, I noticed that the struggles my son was having, many of these children were having as well. And I realized that no amount of volunteer service was going to fix this system. I had to do it from the inside. So I'm in the grocery store one morning, and my city council person works at that grocery store, and he says to me, Daphna, I need you to run for office. And all of a sudden, everything clicked into place. It was time for me to stand up and serve. It was time for me to run for office. And so I decided I would run for office for my son, for our youth who are in corrections, and for the myriad of other challenges our community was facing that I could make a more significant impact on through being in office. Running for office was not an easy thing by any stretch of the imagination. Waking up every morning and knowing that I had a full sheet of doors to knock, a full list of phone calls to make to raise money to continue to get my name out there, it became a challenge every morning. And every morning when I would wake up and say, am I really the right person to run for office? Is this really the thing that I want to do? It was my son's face and my son's future that told me, yes, you need to get up because your why is your own child. Your why is strong. So if you're thinking about running for office, I encourage you to think about, what is your why? What is the reason that you want to serve? And is it going to help you wake up every morning and get out of bed and knock on those doors and make those phone calls to raise the money needed to get your name out there? Because if your answer is yes, do it and call me. Let me help you get there. Thanks for listening.